Hello, students, and welcome to Greek Exegesis of John. I'm very excited for you to continue on your Greek journey and for my opportunity to guide you in that journey. The purpose of this video is to make some comments, some of the essential things I want you to know about this class, and go over to our course Moodle page and make some comments about that page and how things will run over there. So we're going to start with the course objectives. There are 4 of them, and they're sort of ordered in the order of importance, at least as I estimate their importance. You might estimate their importance differently. But the first is to be able to exegete a particular passage from the Gospel of John, paying attention to the 3 so-called hermeneutical worlds. And this is really a transferable skill set that you will know a lot of things about John, but after this class is over, you could replace John with another New Testament text, and you will sort of have the skills to be able to approach that new text and exegete passages from it. The second is for you to really think about your own social location, your own social context, and think about how that informs the way that you read and interpret scripture. And sort of part and parcel of this is also thinking about how other people's social context and social locations might inform their interpretation of scripture, but also how you might learn from their particular social context and how then that in turn might inform your interpretation. The third one here is we were going to use biblical commentaries very regularly in this class. The biblical commentary is a sort of very unique genre of literature. It is primarily a reference tool, and we are going to practice using multiple different commentaries as reference tools and comparing and contrasting their different perspectives. Fourth and finally, and this is unique to you as compared to English exegesis students, is that you'll utilize Greek linguistic tools in service of the interpretation of John and select passages from it. And again, this is also an a transferable skill set that you will be able to take your understanding and practice using these linguistic tools and then apply them to different New Testament texts. So I often explain the difference between the Greek 1 class and the Greek exegesis class, as Greek 1 is really sort of learning the nuts and bolts, the things that are going to build the automobile, and Greek 2 or Greek exegesis is learning how to drive the automobile, making use of those tools successfully in service of exegesis. So a couple different FYIs. I should know all of you, and all of you should know me, but if you don't, I am Dr. Elder. I prefer to be addressed as Dr. Elder, and my preferred pronouns are he, him, and his. I host videos on YouTube, which you know because you are watching a YouTube video right now, but I want you to know the reasons why I do this. One, and perhaps the most important in my mind, is for the purpose of closed captioning. So somewhere down here, you can push that closed captioning button, the CC button, and it'll bring up a transcript automatically generated by YouTube of what I am saying. Now, so this is important for accessibility for those who might have experienced hearing loss, but it's also helpful for you to be able to read and hear what I'm saying at the same time. It sort of gives you multiple points of connection with the material. The second is that you can change the playback speed on YouTube. You can speed me up or slow me down, and I have will take absolutely no offense if you do either one of those things. And third and finally is for reasons of bandwidth. All of us have sort of different availability and access to internet. So if you want to change the quality of the video for reasons of bandwidth, you can lower the quality, or if you have strong accessibility to internet, you can put the quality all the way to the top, sort of in HD, as it were. The next note I want to make has to do with note taking in this class, and this is sort of a caveat if you took the New Testament class with me or the Greek 1 class with me. I've already given you this caveat, is that I don't think of lectures necessarily or solely as repositories of information where I'm taking the things in my brain and sort of dumping them into your brain. Rather, I think of them as active endeavors that are getting you to do things and also preparing you to engage the materials for the week, the readings for the week, and the assignments for the week. So you'll see on the course Moodle page that I've set things up so that I would most generally ask you to first engage the lectures before going to do the readings, because they're really going to sort of prime you for the deeper dive that you'll do in the readings. Books and texts are better places to engage details than our videos. So these videos are not necessarily detail oriented. They're more to get you starting to think about certain things that you can then go and get more details from the texts. So related to this, sort of my outlook on note taking and the purpose of lectures is lecture pauses. And again, you are probably familiar with these already. Maybe you had a tendency to skip over them in the past, but I would really respectfully ask you not to skip over them for this class. Is that I really do intentionally construct these lecture pauses in ways that I think are best for your learning, that are going to prime your mind for thinking in certain ways. So in order to sort of encourage you not to skip lecture pauses, we're going to do one right now. And this first lecture pause is to create a folder or a document, either electronic or physical, that is labeled lecture pauses. This is the place where all of your work in lecture pauses will live. So if you prefer to type things out electronically, create a electronic folder or file right now with a title like Greek Exegesis Lecture Pauses or something along those lines. Or if you prefer to do things long form, handwriting, there is a benefit to handwriting things. Find a blank notebook and scrawl across the top of it in Sharpie, Greek Exegesis Lecture Pauses. So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and please accomplish this task right now. All right, with your new folder, document, or handwritten or notebook, physical notebook ready, we're going to go ahead and do another lecture pause, a more sort of textually oriented lecture pause. And it's going to get us to start with a close reading of the Gospel of John. So what I want you to do is look at, on the left-hand side here of your screen, Marc Chagall's Crucifixion in yellow, and compare it with these 14 verses from John chapter 19, which is part of John's account of the crucifixion. And what I want you to write down or type out in your lecture pause notebook or folder is what is present from John 19 in Chagall's piece and what is absent. So in order of doing a compare and contrast, and I should tell you from the outset that Chagall's piece is not made on the basis of John 19, but you will find some overlap. So what's present and what is absent? Go ahead and pause the video and do that comparison now. All right, so the reason that I ask you to do that is really to get you started in doing a close reading of two different texts. One artistic text, a visual medium, and one a written text. One of the main sort of ways we do exegesis, or one of the main processes of doing interpretation or exegesis, is what is called close readings, where we are looking closely at a text, physically marking it and making notes about it. In this case, in the form of comparison, which is another way in which we do exegesis, comparing one text to another text. And you've had some practice doing this in the New Testament introduction class as well. So what I also want to do is sort of give you just a little bit of background on Marc Chagall's piece and why I have included it as the sort of artistic centerpiece for this class. One of the primary reasons is because of Chagall's social location. Marc Chagall was an Eastern European Jew who lived through the Holocaust and created a number of pieces, not only with Hebrew Bible themes, but also a number of pieces with sort of New Testament themes, a number of crucifixion pieces. And what we see in Chagall's work is really this melding of his lived experience of living through the Holocaust, and also the sort of portrayal of the biblical text. So we have these sort of melding of the different exegetical worlds in Chagall's pieces. But this piece in particular also paints sort of really in really dark, bold, contrasting lines, which is something that the Gospel of John does a lot. There's all kinds of dichotomies in the Gospel of John, life and death, dark and lightness, and so on and so forth. So Marc Chagall's piece here really sort of reflects these different dynamics, and I think encapsulates some of the themes that we will find with respect to the Gospel of John. All right, to totally shift gears and to move to something that you might be a little bit more, might have a little bit more of a vested interest in, is the grading method and the assignments for this class. So if you have had classes with me before, you will be familiar with the specifications grading system. What specifications grading is it's an assessment mode that does not use numbers or scales and averages to determine your final grade. So most things in this class will not be graded using any numbers whatsoever. Rather, they will be graded based on whether you complete the objectives or specifications that are listed in the assignment instructions. If you complete all those objectives or specifications, the assignment passes, and you can sort of add it to your total of either minor items or major items that you have completed for the class. If it does not, if your submission does not pass specifications or objectives, I'll tell you the reasons why, how you might improve it, and then you can revise and resubmit it so that it does pass those specifications. So the idea here is that you are really, your work can always be improved, that you are sort of, what you do, the work you submit at one time is not static. It can change. It can get better. It can improve. And so that's sort of the emphasis in the specifications grading. As far as the final grade that you get in the class, it's determined by the number of items you complete in each category. So you have to complete the minimum number in each one of those categories to achieve the letter grade listed on the left-hand side there. And one thing that is a bit new about the grading system for this class in comparison to other classes you might have taken with me, and it's a new thing for me, it's a new experiment that we are doing all together, is sort of an options-based approach to learning. So whereas in previous classes there have been a certain number of items, and you've had to do most of those items to be able to pass the class with whatever grade you want. This semester, I've given you far more options for how you engage the course material than what is needed to achieve a particular grade. So with respect to major items, there's somewhere between 10 and 15 different major items you might choose from. And so to get an A, you need to complete 5 of those. Of course, you can complete more of them if you want to. There's never, it's never a bad thing to do more learning or to do more work and develop yourself more. But the idea here is that you are looking at the different assignments, especially in the major item category, and choosing the ones that are going to be most beneficial for the skills that you want to develop in the class for your own unique sort of vocational goals or for the reasons that you might be in the class, what works with your schedule, and what you're most interested in. As humans, we learn when we are interested in things. Sort of learning is a self-preservation skill. So there is self-interest in learning. And I want you to really harness that self-interest and find the things that look most enjoyable to you and that are most important for your development. With respect to minor items, there will be at least two different minor items per week. One will be sort of a Greek assignment that engages the sort of linguistic tools of Greek in some form or fashion. And the other is a course community engagement assignment. There are a couple of different options for how you engage course community. One will be discussion forums. One will be another new experience, what I'm calling Zoom book clubs, where you will engage your peers in a synchronous meeting. Those will be held on Monday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time. And the third is a residential class. If you are a residential student, attending the residential class gets you a course community grade credit or minor item for that particular week. And I indicate this on the course Moodle page, but you can only get one of those course community credits per week. So you of course can participate both in the forum and in the book club, but you sort of you don't get 2 credits for that. You don't get to double dip. You only get 1 course community credit per week, so that you are still also engaging the Greek minor items as well. And then at the bottom of this page here, I indicate that you can still do a final exegetical paper. Some of us are really interested in sort of just going deep on one idea or one passage and writing a whole lot about it. Some of us are really good at writing papers and really enjoy that process. So if that is something that interests you, completing a final exegetical paper is not just one major item because it's more work. It counts as 3 major items, and that is an assignment or a major item that is due at the end of the semester. All right, let's move on over to the course Moodle page, and I will sort of navigate our way through it, make just a handful of comments about how it's laid out and my expectations about how you might engage this. So at the top here, we have a link to my email. We have my name and title, digital drop-in hours. These are my digital office hours where I will be sitting in front of my computer, anxiously awaiting for you to drop in to my Zoom meeting and ask me all of your questions about Greek and the Gospel of John. You don't need to make an appointment for these hours. I'm here waiting and ready for you, and the link is there at the top of the page. Here is the location of our in-person meeting. And lastly, here is the link for the weekly Zoom book club synchronous meetings. One note I did not make about these meetings, again, they count for the course community minor item for a week. They are places for you to engage your peers. So generally speaking, I will not be attending these Zoom book club meetings unless there is a particular reason for me to do so. So you have already looked at this. If you're watching this video, you've already looked at this folder here. The next one I want to call our attention to is the major assignment instructions in Dropboxes. And I should note from the very beginning that this is where these major assignments will always live throughout the course of the semester. So let's zoom down to the Greek exegesis major assignments. You will never find these drop boxes or these folders in the particular week that you are engaging. You will have to go back up to this location to turn in your work for these major assignments. And I would encourage you, after you're done watching this video, is to go through these different major assignments, click on them, and you will find the instructions and the specifications for them within each Dropbox. And that way you can sort of start to gauge which of these you might want to do based on your interest level, the skills you want to develop, and what works for your particular schedule. In some cases, these are the assignments are not available therein, but the instructions will be available for all of these different drop boxes here. And then I include for your quick reference each time how many of these major items you need to complete to get whatever grade you might want to get in the class. So let's go ahead and close this one out and make some comments about the rest of our course page here. Let's close that one as well. So you will always have each week 3 different folders, and only 2 of them are going to be relevant to you. So we share a course page with the English exegesis students, and you will be engaging English exegesis students for part of the class. So when it comes to your portion of the class, you will always open, of course, the Greek exegesis folder here. There will always be a video introduction at the beginning reminding you what is due for the week and the things that we will be engaging. Our lectures and readings, you click on this arrow and we'll always have the lecture links to YouTube here and the slides associated with those lectures. And then the readings will come in 2 different forms here, links to either PDF documents or websites. And then anything that is unlinked comes from the required materials for the class. Under this folder as well, you'll always find your minor grade item in the form of a Greek assignment. There will be at least 1 per week. Sometimes there will be more than 1. This first week is a getting back into Greek quiz that's meant to sort of ease you back into the process of engaging the Greek New Testament. The other place, the second folder that will be of relevance to you each week is the course community folder. And this is where you will engage either the discussion forum. So you'll be given the prompt here, and most weeks I will actually not have this on the course page, but it will be hidden within the link. And also the questions and curiosities forum. So if you have any questions or any just sort of random thoughts, this is the place where those go. And I ask you to put those there first rather than emailing me so everyone can see the answer to your question. so long as it's not of a personal nature. So that's the first place, the first thing in course community. Remember, you can get 1 course community credit per week, either from this discussion forum or from the book club. So the book club Zoom link is again right here. It's top of the course page, also right here. And there will always be prompts to guide you and your peers' discussion for the week. You don't need to be beholden to these prompts. If you go off in different directions, that's okay, but these serve as a way for you to sort of jump into conversation. And I will ask you after you have attended the book club to sort of affirm that you did by submitting a self-assessment here. Again, within this Dropbox is attached the document that you can fill out affirming that you attended the book club. And also I ask you to write up sort of just one takeaway from your time with your peers at the book club. And then lastly, if you are a residential student, there will be every week a short assignment for you to do related to what we will be doing in class on that Monday. So these will serve as sort of jumping off points for our work in the class together. So without further ado, I'm going to set you loose to start engaging the week 1 material, which I know that you're very, very eager to do. If you have any questions about anything with respect to the formatting on Moodle, the grading system, how things are going to run in this class, feel free to first put them right here in this questions and curiosities forum, so long as it's not a personal question, or shoot me an email, or drop in right here to my digital drop-in hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, I will see you all in the class, and again, look forward to continuing journeying with you in Greek this semester.